Ellis, an Anoka County Master Gardener with University of Minnesota Extension, and I'm going to talk to you today about gardening. There's an app for that. This little logo that's on some of the slides is actually a folder on my iPod Touch that runs some of these gardening apps. And here's an iPad that you can see them demonstrated at the Master Gardener Plant and Insect Diagnostic Clinic held at Bunker Hills Activity Center during the summer. What we're going to cover. There's going to be a couple of background slides, then 13 different apps. Now, I could spend the whole show on any one of them. So this is going to be a lightning round. We're going to go through them very fast. Don't worry. You're just going to get a buzz of everything. They're going to be grouped into identification and care of plants and diagnosis and treatment. There's going to be a section on smart downloading, a summary, and a resource. That's the important thing. Have a pencil and paper handy to write down the resource, which is a web page that has links to all the apps. So you're just going to get the overview and then can use the resource to get any more detailed information. Background. All of the apps will run on an Apple iPhone, iPod Touch, or an iPad. Many will also run on Android devices, and they'll have the word Android when on the screen when I demonstrate or talk about them. And most of them, once you've downloaded them, don't need internet access to run. A few do, and I'll mention those too. A few of them support multiple languages. That might come in handy. All are suitable for our geographic location. Some apps have pretty general names that are kind of similar to other apps' names. In fact, some of the names are very similar to games. So that's why the resource at the end with actual links to the apps can be very helpful, because some of them, if you search for them by name, you might have to wade through a lot of not appropriate apps. So the first 8 we're going to talk about are mainly on identification and care of various plants. V-Tree ID is from Virginia Tech, and it's the Virginia Tech Tree Identification app. Almost all of those identification and care apps are free. This one is free. It's also available for Android. It does require internet access to run, because the first thing it does is ask for your location. It uses your GPS to find where you are, and then lists trees that grow in your location. So if you go outstate or go upstate, go around to a different state, you can use V-Tree. It'll find your new location and give you trees for that location. It shows pictures of the whole tree, the bark, the flowers, the fruit, etc. I wanted to know more about red maples. And it gave me a very long fact sheet. Much more than I wanted to know, but everything there was to know about red maple. And then at the bottom of that were little thumbnails of pictures. And I could touch any one of those to have it go up to the full screen, including the geographic location of red maple. Hey, pretty neat. Well, here's another one. Key to Wisconsin woody plants. That covers trees too, but it's a little broader. It'll also cover shrubs and woody vines. It's another free one. It's from the University of Wisconsin. Well, if I want to know about red maple, what will this tell me? It will start with a picture of red maple, and here you can see the little dots. Each of these are a picture of a different part of the tree, so you swipe to get from one picture to the next. Whereas V-Tree started with the text, here you have to click on this little page thingy to get a small amount of text about red maple. So if you want more text, more information, V-Tree is better. If you want more pictures, and if you want things other than trees, the woody plants of Wisconsin. Well, of course, that's Wisconsin, and we're in Minnesota. Turns out most of the Wisconsin plants grow in Minnesota also. So that's not a problem. I don't know about you, but I know all the trees that are on my property. I know what their names are. And I know what all the flowers are. I mean, I paid money for most of them. I don't know the name of all the weeds. I know they're weeds. I pull them up. But you need to know the name. If pulling up doesn't work, or if there are just a lot of them, you might want to know, go to the garden center and say, I have this kind of weed. What do you have that, how would you suggest I get rid of it? Well, ID Weeds from the University of Missouri. Turns out most of the common Minnesota weeds are in it. Turns out some of the things that are in it aren't weeds in Minnesota. I mean, I paid some money for some of those things too, but it's very handy. It's free. Well, how do you test out an app like this? Chickweed. I bet you know what that is. I didn't at one time, but a neighbor told me. So I searched for chickweed. And what do you know? I found it, but I also found mouse ear chickweed. I didn't know that one. I had that one too. So here you see the entry, a picture, and you can page through the different pictures it has, and you see the words that it has, a nice description, and explaining where it's found. It's for the Android, and this is one that is available in multiple languages. Be Smart. This is from the Pollinator Partnership. Another free one, another available for Android. Here, rather than using your GPS, it asks for your zip code. And then it lists pollinator-friendly plants that grow in your zip code. Hey, isn't that neat? And this, you can see all of them, or you can search by type of pollinator, bloom color, amount of sun it needs, soil type it needs, and kind of plant it is. Is it a tree? Is it a shrub? Is it a flower? You can do a lot of searching on this really neat app. Here's one that costs money. $3. Minnesota Wildflowers. This lead Minnesota Wildflowers with pictures and other information about each one. Well, there I saw a wildflower. It was yellow. I searched for yellow. You know what? There's an awful lot of yellow wildflowers. Well, it was in bloom in September. Put that in. There's an awful lot of yellow wildflowers that are in bloom in September. It was still in bloom in October, and putting in October narrowed my list of wildflowers to a small enough list that I could look at them and actually find my wildflower. It happened to be a zigzag goldenrod. Hey. So that's from Minnesota Wildflowers. Here's an interesting app from University of Connecticut. It's on rain gardens. Connecticut's kind of far away, isn't it? Turns out when they first made that app, it was only targeted to Connecticut, but they opened it up to other states to add information on rain gardens in their states. So the first thing it does now is ask for your state, or actually you pick it out of a list, and Minnesota is one of the states on that list. So you can localize it to Minnesota and It'll do everything, including videos, but it'll need internet access to show the videos, and the plant list is localized to Minnesota. So if you're interested in rain gardens, this is a nice free app. Ornamental grasses, University of Illinois. This has a nice one, directory, basics, planting care. It's videos. Again, it'll need internet access to show the videos. It is Illinois. That's a bit south of us. And some of the plants they list there are only hardy to zone 5. Most of Minnesota is zone 4 or 3, even in the north. So beware when looking at those plants, and don't choose one that's a zone 5 plant. This is what it looks like. One of my favorite grasses, little blue stem. Here we see it's zone 3 to 9. Sure, that's good enough for us. And you can see other things about it. Like roses. Again, this is a University of Illinois app, and there'll be some zone 5 roses, so beware. Notice among the other things it has, it shows diseases and pests. So really, if I was classing it, I could class this app as one of the diagnosis and treatment kind of apps, but since it's from the University of Illinois, I put it in with its brother and left it in this classification. And again, it has videos, and it needs internet access to show the videos. Here's a nice rose, Henry Hudson, hardiness zones 4 to 9. That's a good one for us. And a pretty picture. Now we're going to go to 5 apps that are for diagnosis and treatment. And whereas most of the other ones were free, most of these you have to pay for. Here's Purdue Perennial Doctor from Purdue University. They have a whole set of plant doctor apps. This one costs 99 cents. It's available also for the Android. And you can search by a flower, or you can search by a disease, or an insect, or an other, whatever other is. So I have coneflowers. So I searched by coneflowers. And what do you know? Here is aster yellow. That's a disease of coneflowers and other flowers. And there's a picture. One of 18 pictures. Well, they've got quite a lot. Annual. Well, I happen to know about downy mildew in impatiens, so I searched for that. This again is 99 cents. Yep, that's what my impatiens look like. And here they're showing a type of what I'd call New Guinea impatiens, very resistant to downy mildew. So it's not only showing you, this is one of 4 pictures, what the disease looks like, they're showing you a way to get around it. Tomatoes, hey, 99 cents. Well, we've seen how to search for a tomato part or search for a disease. What is other? Just wonder what other might be. Oh, that's another. Had to put this one in there. Tree Doctor, that's the last of the Purdue Plant Doctor apps. This one's more expensive. It's $1.99. And you can search by conifers or shade trees, tree name, diseases, insects, others. And forest insect pests, or forest pest insects in North America. This is a free one, and it's from the University of Georgia, but it covers all of North America. And as we know of these forest pests, they tend to move around the country. And what is the one we're hearing most about right now? Emerald ash borer. And isn't this a nice picture showing you the size? And see all these little dots? It's got an awful lot of pictures of the insect, the damage on trees, the geographical spread, etc. If you're interested in that sort of thing, very nice app. What are we missing? Veggies. There's very few good apps on vegetable gardening, except for tomatoes. But use your smartphone browser. You have to have internet access. m.illinois.edu/veggies. VEGGIES /. That's good vegetable information on the small screen. Now let's spend a little time on downloading. Before you download something, think about the organization that's behind it. Is it an educational organization? Is it a nonprofit organization? Do you know anything about the organization? Is it relevant to your location? Minnesota wildflowers? Yes. Rocky Mountain wildflowers? Not so good. And read the user reviews. And we'll go through a few. This is from the Apple App Store. There'll be a similar one for Google Play on your Android devices. And here we see there's 7 ratings at this time. And this is the Purdue Perennial Doc, that app we saw. And most of them are rating it 5 or 4 stars. Very nice. Except one person didn't like it. Well, let's see why they didn't like it. Some of you might have trouble reading this, so I'm going to just read it to you. Working in a retail nursery, I was really hoping for an app that showed distinctive pictures of perennial diseases and insect damage. Instead, you get pictures of diseases on plants that mostly aren't the perennial you are researching. For instance, if you want to look at crown rot on hosta, you only get a picture of crown rot on bellflower, which really isn't helpful. To me, it is just as easy to Google the problem you are seeing and find it through image search, not worth the 99 cents. All right, that's a negative review. That's a good negative review. First thing, the person explains who they are. I work in a retail nursery. That means know a little bit more about plants than just the run-of-the-mill person. And he or she puts a really clear deficiency of the app. This is why I don't like it. Maybe this won't bother you. Well, a few days later, actually 3 days later, we get a 4-star rating. I have purchased and used all of the Purdue Plant Doctor apps in my job as an extension horticulture educator. I am very pleased with them for the most part. I agree in part with the previous reviewer's concern that a specific disease of a specific plant was not illustrated. Prospective buyers should bear in mind there are hundreds and hundreds of perennial plants on the market in the US. Trying to collect pictures of every pest of every plant would be an extremely difficult task and would expand the current file size from 190 megabytes to close to 1 gigabyte. For 99 cents, this is a very useful tool. I've spent over $75 for full-fledged books that contain less pest information than this app has. So there. But this person goes on. There's more. And to the previous reviewer, I'll admit to having gone from these Plant Doctor apps to the internet to get further information or more pictures. This app does not contain everything. No app, no website, and no textbook possibly can. That was a good, positive app review. Summary. There are many good garden apps, best if educational or nonprofit sponsors. Check the relevance to your location and read the user reviews. Now get out your pencil and paper. A web page with app links for every app that we discussed. tinyurl.com/apps, APPS, the number 4, gardens. Apps for gardens. Got that? We're Anoka Master Gardeners, another website, anokamastergardeners.org, and a phone number. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching QCTV.